Welcome to the Gavel. I'm Linda Akibe. Federal lawmakers in the Senate and House of Representatives have gone on a long recess, but pockets of activities are still going on in the National Assembly. Although plenary is on hold until lawmakers in both chambers resume on September 16th, committees in both houses are still continuing with public hearings and oversight functions. Now, the House of Representatives Committee on Environment is trying to unravel the dumping of 469 metric tons of toxic waste in 11 communities in Ndokwa East local government area of Delta State. The House met with Agip Oil Company, which is in the eye of the storm, as well as the Department of Petroleum Resources and the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, NOSDRA, to get to the root of the matter. Watch.
Community and sort it out.
This might be the last of series of investigative meetings by the House of Representatives Committee on Environment to unravel the dumping of 469 metric tons of toxic waste in 11 communities in Ndokwa East local government area of Delta State in May 2013. The committee has been meeting with representatives of the affected communities alongside the Department of Petroleum Resources, the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, and Nigeria Agip Oil Company, which has been accused for the toxic waste dumping by the communities. After several reports leading to inconclusive meetings, the Department of Petroleum Resources finally indicted the oil company.
Yes, there were weathered materials. We do not need to carry a tipper load of the waste. Weathered as they are in their feet are so the ones that are on the spots where they were dumped. So they still have some level of continuity in terms of the level of weathering. So if there is even any further dispute, weathered materials are not something that could not be analyzed. They will still give the kind of similarity that will be used to further do any further to draw any further conclusion. So I think we stand by submission. First, the company did not follow, in principle, what is called managing a waste or any chemical from cradle to grave. And that was what gave the opportunity to the contractor they gave to do whatever they did.
Now, and Allman Global Services have violated regulations of the DPR, as highlighted above. Consequently, the DPR is currently considering appropriate sanctions to impose on both the company and the contractor, in line with the provisions of the Petroleum Drilling and Production Regulations 1969 and its amendments. Also, the DPR views the above pieces of evidence, pieces of what we call circumstantial evidence, as strong enough to make the companies liable. Though we are not saying we found them doing it, but this is enough circumstantial evidence pointing to the fact that it could have been them. So the Honorable House may therefore use the evidence so provided to decide on an appropriate course of action. But for fairness, as we normally do when we have situations like this, the DPR will also want to consider all the other companies in that location and see whether we can have similar circumstantial evidence, because it is not possible at this time to be able to pin it to anybody using analysis of the materials. The time that has passed has made that very difficult. So it is possible we do similar kind of investigation and see similar circumstantial evidence that may be stronger or weaker than the ones we have, but we still want to go ahead to do that.
The oil company, however, raised objections to the findings, but the committee chairman said the submissions will be adopted and investigations closed while they look at reports so far gathered.
The test result is as regards the toxicity of the materials dumped in the communities. What is in issue is actually who dumped it. So it will not really be fair and correct to say that because NOSDRA report had indicated that what was dumped there was toxic, therefore we are responsible. Because NOSDRA had told us that they didn't bother to find about the origin because there was waste manifest in possession of the drivers who were caught. NOSDRA is here, you can clarify. that they didn't bother to find out about the origin because they had the waste manifest. And we are saying that our drivers have obligation to carry waste manifest when they are transporting their waste. The drivers were stopped on the road and the manifest taken from them.
Let me ask you, is what NOSDRA said, is it different from what Agip has said?
Yes, what
I mean, DPR said, is it different?
DPR has said, if I heard correctly, that in the interest of justice and fairness, that they need to
they were just trying to be diplomatic.
No, but
they gave us submission in writing. And you have the, I think you have a copy of their report.
We don't have it.
They will give you their own submission because you're entitled to have the committee will use the submissions before us to arrive at a conclusion. And we must solve this as quickly as possible. So when you get this report, we are giving you 1 week to give us your submission in writing on this.
The committee chairman said communities in the Niger Delta region are crumbling under the weight of toxic waste dumping and oil spills, and multinational companies must be made to take responsibilities of their actions.
The eyes of many Nigerians have been firmly fixed on ongoing national conference. Delegates at the national conference have tackled several contentious issues which have long been simmering underneath the surface of the polity. Issues such as true federalism, devolution of powers, derivation and resource control, as well as state creation and state police, to name a few. But so far, delegates have not been able to agree on the concrete issues of true federalism, devolution of powers, resource control, and it will be interesting to see if there will be a change of course when the conference resumes on August 4th. Anyway, we spoke with the Senate Minority Whip, Senator Ganiyu Solomon, to get his views on some of the issues raised at the national conference.
Well, from day one, I think is an exercise that we should welcome, even though there were issues raised as to the legality or otherwise of the conference. But I believe that any opportunity for Nigerians in their diverse nation to come together and hear their views and come up with grievances where they have for us to discuss, I think such an opportunity should be welcome. So it is in that line that maybe lukewarm, I believe, maybe half-heartedly, okay, let's have the conference, regardless of the fact that people are saying, what is the legality, what is the legal backing for such a conference? But, I mean, if you weigh the opportunity that Nigerians have to express themselves, which they did on a number of issues, I think is worth the while.
Now, several contentious issues were raised during the national conference, issues of derivation, resource control, state creation. What are your thoughts on the issue of derivation? We know that the people at the national conference were advocating for 18% derivation, in the conference. As a federal lawmaker representing Lagos, what are your views on this figure being proposed by the national conference?
I think the National Assembly is more equipped to solve some of these problems. We have ways, maybe because of the mechanism of lawmaking and arriving at decisions. I think over the years we've exhibited that even where issues has this color of partisanship, we always find a way of burying our political leaning and coming up with a position. On the derivation, on the 5%, I think they must, if it is an issue on the table of the confab, they must come up with a position. They cannot pass the buck, and that is the essence of putting them together. I mean, they must come up with a position. They cannot say that, okay, we are unable to reach a consensus on those two very, very important issues. On the part of the National Assembly, we discuss it oftentimes. We believe that there's need to do a lot of consultation, and the timing too must also be right. One, what effect will it have on other states that will not benefit from such fundings, and so on and so forth. So now that we have them there, and they are expected to do those things that some people believe the National Assembly are unable to do, maybe they should just come up with a position on it.
Now, the issue of devolution of powers. A federal lawmaker I spoke to said Nigeria might not be is not ready for devolution of powers. Do you agree?
Well, you can't say Nigeria is not right. Devolution of power is taking some power from the federal government and giving it to the states. Is that what we mean by devolution of power? This is the right time to do it, because you look at the structure, the federal structure vis-a-vis the power given to the federal government. It's too much. It's lopsided in favor of the federal government. And most of these things that the federal government is saddled with are naturally supposed to be the responsibility of the state government, and at some stage, the local government. So if we want real development, we should bring it nearer to the people. And there's no doubt that the state government is nearer the people than the federal government. The state government will have the capacity to respond instantly